Welcome to Bake Like a Diva. I'm your host, Amber. Today I have a special guest who's a fabulous baker. Her name is Treci.
Well, thank you, Amber. I'm so excited to be on today's episode, and I watch everything that Bake Like a Diva does.
Thank you for being such a loyal viewer. Today I'll be making her famous lemon pound cake.
Amber, the first thing we're going to do is dump in 3 sticks of butter into our mixer.
Okay. Here's the next stick.
Thank you. It's so nice to have a diva as an assistant.
Thank you. And here's the last stick.
And do you know why we put in the butter first?
No, why?
So what we really want to do is to be able to cream it. You know what creaming means?
Yeah, like whip it together.
Exactly. So we'll get that going.
Okay. Is it anything that you do while you're creaming it?
Well, we can go ahead and start getting our sugar ready to go in next.
Okay. So we'll just put the sugar in while it's creaming or after.
After it's finished creaming. And this will go for about 3 minutes.
Okay. So how can we tell if it's finished?
That's a good question. Usually you'll notice that the butter starts to look almost white in color. Another way you can test it is like this. See, Amber? Not only is it the white color, but there's little peaks forming
Yes.
on the spatula, and that's another way that you can know that
Oh.
it's ready.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and add in the sugar.
Okay. Is this good?
That's perfect. And I know it may seem like a lot of sugar, but 3 cups of sugar in a pound cake makes it delicious.
Okay.
And we'll get it going high because we really want the sugar and the butter to mix together.
Okay. So next, will we add the eggs?
Yep. You want to add those next?
And there are 5 eggs, right?
That's right.
And one of them does not have any, it's only the yolk.
That's correct. Because you want to have a lot of eggs so your cake is nice and fluffy. But if you have too many egg whites in it, then sometimes your cake can be dry. You definitely don't want a dry pound cake.
I know. Here are the eggs.
Thank you. And we're just going to add these in one by one.
So when you add them in, don't you have to see if it's all mixed together?
Yep, and that's when we know when it's time to just pour in the next egg yolk. And you gotta be careful sometimes with these mixers. They're really great to use, but they can get a little messy too.
Okay.
And if you ever find that you can't get all the ingredients down into the bowl to be mixed, it's perfectly fine to stop mixing. Use your scraper, push everything down, and then start again.
Oh, okay.
And really, we're just putting the eggs in and mixing it long enough until it's blended together, like you mentioned, because we don't want to overbeat the eggs.
Okay.
So now that that's incorporated, let's go ahead and put in our other wet ingredients.
Okay. So I'll start with 1 teaspoon of lemon extract. Next, I'll add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract.
It's already starting to smell good, Amber.
I know, I can just smell it. And this is 1 whole lemon.
that's the secret to giving it that real good lemon flavor, but still having a homemade taste and not feeling like it's a store-bought cake. Looks good.
It does.
And when I get to the flour part, usually I'll go ahead and stop using the mixer because you never want to over stir in flour. That's how your cake really gets dry. So we usually just do that by hand.
Okay. Now put the flour in. So how much flour is this again?
So we're going to put in 2.5 cups of flour. Okay. And we just put it in gradually, a little bit at a time.
Okay.
And so we'll put that in, stir. And again, we're not trying to mix it anymore, but just make sure that the flour gets incorporated with the other ingredients.
Okay.
Okay, and go ahead, let's put some more in.
Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
Just put the rest in, or?
No, we'll just stir this in one more time. I usually kind of break it into 3. All right, and now we're ready for the last bit of flour.
Okay.
Perfect.
Now I'll grease the pan with some Crisco. Do you have a reason why Crisco is better to use than butter?
You know, you can always substitute butter for Crisco, but I do find that when you're working with these darker pans, that the Crisco just works a little bit better to make sure that the cake doesn't stick to the pan.
Oh. Now put some flour around it. Is there another reason why flour is a good thing to use?
Yes, so the flour mixed with the Crisco gives you that nice golden brown edge on the cake and ensures that it comes out even. All right, looks good, Amber. So we're almost done. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and fill in the pan with our lovely cake batter. And you notice a pound cake mix is a lot thicker than you know, any other cake that you might be making, such as your famous carrot cake or some of the cupcakes that you bake.
Well, I wonder why.
A lot of it has to do with the fact, like a traditional pound cake, you would use a pound of each of the ingredients. So you have a pound of sugar, a pound of butter, and a pound of flour. And so that combined gives you a nice even mixture. But a lot of the cakes today where people get the box mix are a little more liquidy than they are with all the dry ingredients.
Oh, I guess that's why it's called a pound cake.
Okay, Amber, we're almost done. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the cake in the oven.
Okay. Now, which oven will we be using?
We're gonna go ahead and use the top one.
Okay.
I like to put the cake on 325 if I'm using a darker pan. If we had a lighter pan, then we probably could raise it to about 350.
Okay.
And we'll let this bake for 60 minutes or an hour.
Okay. So, now the lemon pound cake is ready. So Tracy, how do you make the lemon glaze?
You know, Amber, it's pretty simple. We're gonna use a cup of confectioner's sugar.
Okay.
The juice from 1 lemon.
Okay.
And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So we're just gonna whisk all 3 ingredients together.
Okay. So do you have a certain order you pour it in?
So usually we're gonna put the dry ingredient in first.
Okay.
And you know, sometimes you don't need all of the lemon. So what we'll do is pour in half of it. Go ahead and start whisking that together.
you tell if you need more?
Sometimes it's personal preference, but I like it to be a little bit runny. So we're not trying to make it as thick as a regular frosting because we want to make sure that it pours nicely around the cake.
Is that good?
That's looking good. I'm going to go ahead and add the vanilla in.
Okay. So, is this supposed to be kind of like a light brown color like this?
Yep, that's perfect. And so if people want to have like a thinner glaze, then they can go ahead and put a little bit more lemon juice in it. But for me, this is perfect.
Okay.
And then the cake is still a little bit warm, which is great. So when we're pouring it, it'll start to run down. And I usually just try to pour in the center so that the first layer of glaze goes towards the middle.
Okay.
And then we can come back around towards the outer part to get the nice glaze coming down the side.
Oh, I see.
And again, depending on how you like it, you can make it as many layers of glaze as you like.
It's time for the most important part, trying the cake.
So Amber, what do you think?
It is delicious. So always remember, bake like a diva.